There we go. I didn't have my microphone turned on. Greetings. Welcome. Hello. See if my light's good enough. I might need more light going here. So hold on a second. Yeah. Let's see. And get this over to the right screen. New studio. Got to figure things out, right? Hang on. Let's see here. Get this a little closer. That then done. Blow something up. That's better. Hello. How's everybody doing? Let's see here. Pause that. Pause that. We're live. Hello, good peoples. Let me get the microphone a little bit closer. Gotta get my earbuds in. Finally awake. I was sleeping. Oh my gosh. All right, welcome. It's the new studio. I got all sorts of stuff to share with you guys. I'm so excited to see everybody here. Wow, there's a lot of people already. Cool. So welcome. I moved to a new house that I have bought, so I'm not renting any longer. Thank goodness. And I've been in 2 different rental houses. I am now in my own little house where I will reside for a while and get to build up and improve and, you know, do projects. And oh, there's all sorts of cool plans in the works. I'm getting my microphone set just a little bit closer. And, always a struggle. Always fun getting to a new place and setting stuff up. And so I was going to give you the tour of the house and talk a little bit about this room. This room still has a lot of work to go. There's no panels on the walls for the most part. There are some behind my speakers. I have a bunch of panels. In fact, this photo right here. Let's see here. This is of the old studio. Let's get that to be resized a little, please. Let's see, have that go away. So you see those panels that are up around the room, those are here. And I'm using them, but I've been placing them. Oh yeah, there's my banner I made. But I've been placing them in mainly behind the speakers for now. So that these are in one of the corners for bass trap. This is the old studio layout. And I actually decided to kind of I'm comfortable with this layout, so I kept it pretty much the same. I've expanded a little bit. I'll show you what I mean by that. But let's give you the tour. So this was the old studio. This is a sad photo. This is kind of my dramatic moment photo. The last thing to leave the room was the keyboard, the piano. So, and that room was so bloody hot. Oh my gosh. I had to buy a 15,000 BTU air conditioner just to keep that room so I could work in it. So for 15 months, I was sweating while I was working, literally, in a lot of cases. And so I shopped. I've been looking for houses for a while, and this house went on the market. Here's a hip tip. If you're looking for buying a house, and you've been looking for a while and you can't find the house you want, use Zillow and use the search, refine the search after you've looked and you've seen everything in the area and nothing's working for you. Set it to just only a 1-day search. So it only shows you stuff that shows up for sale on that day. And that way you can see new stuff before anybody else really, you know, you're seeing it when realtors and everybody else are seeing it, but a lot of people aren't doing this. And on the first day that this house was available, I saw it pop up on Zillow. And I saw this room and I went, oh my God, I love the shape. I love I love angles and all that kind of stuff. And for me as a creative person, it's almost more important how the room looks or feels for me, because I'm creative. I mean, you can do all sorts of things to fix whatever room you have. And for me, it's about feeling. And so I saw this, and I saw the rest of the house, and it has AC from a single vent, so it's not a lot of AC, but there is AC. There's cool air coming in here right now. And I said, that's it. So I called my realtor. We went and saw the house. It's in a really cool, quiet location compared to where I was, next to a super busy road. And I was like, this is it. This is it. Let's get it. So we went to a little coffee shop. We sat there. We put in our bid for the house and signed, turned it in. I took my daughter and 3 of her best friends to see Wonder Woman that night. And after watching Wonder Woman, there was a text on my phone from Marcella, my realtor, going, they've replied back. They're asking if that's your best offer. And the reason they were asking is because it was supposed to have an open house on Sunday, and this was Friday. And I was like, okay, so I don't have I'm within the window of what I can afford. I've been pre-approved with my financing, all that stuff's lined up. And so what I did, I said, okay, let me reply back to them. So I went home and I upped the bid by like $5,000, which is, when you're buying expensive, I mean, this house is an expensive house. That's not a lot of money. But what I also did is I wrote a 3-page letter with why this house was perfect for me, my daughter, and my dog. And everything from, there's no fireplace. I'm allergic to ash, so having a fire is something I can't do in a house. It makes my nose and eyes run and stuff. To the fact there's just this little small patch of front yard. I'm not a big gardener. I can take care of that, but I don't need a whole huge backyard with all the, at this moment. I mean, so I made this whole list. The quietness, this room was a big part of it. And sent a picture of my dog, my daughter, and me at the end of the PDF, and they loved it. And they were moving to Germany. He got a job offer in Germany. And they were actually thankful they didn't have to have an open house. So it worked out. They accepted my offer on Saturday. So I saw the house, placed the bid. The next day, they got my letter, and they accepted. And so, boom. That's how you buy a house, my friends. That's how you do it. So from there, it's like, okay, well, what do I want to do this house? So I had this sale. You guys were incredible and raised enough money for me to do some very nice things to this house to start with. The first thing that I did was the floors, because the carpet is kind of a no for studios. If you know anything about audio and sound, it absorbs a lot of high frequency. It does weird things to the low frequencies. Studio wheels don't roll the best on carpet, although it's kind of I'm ending up wheeling on carpet at the moment because I don't have anything on the ceiling. And so I needed something for now, at least, to diffuse. The ceiling-floor relationship is a very important part of sound. And I will eventually have all sorts of sound panels up on the ceiling and recessed lighting and stuff, but that comes later. This is an evolutionary process. You guys are going to be coming along on that. So the first thing I did is I laid out the room. There's an application on your iPad called, let me see if I can find it, because it's really, really cool as far as, where did I put that? Did I put that into the graphics? See if I can find it. It lets you do floor plans for your house, and no, I'm not going to be able to. Rooms. I think it's just called rooms. I think. I'm not going to run it, but it let me do a layout, and then I added the fans and slanted walls. So I have this to work with acousticians and acoustic people. Right here is where I have the bass traps, and I have additional paneling here, and then I'm set up right here on this side of the room. And the main reason for that, let's go through the photos. So here's the room emptied of all the kids' stuff. I bought this hardwood floor. Yes, I still have, well, it's blue hair. My daughter is 16 and she's said, can I color your hair? And if you have a kid, you let them color your hair. It's just one of those things you do. So I said, okay. So the story with the wood floor was really interesting. I was looking at Lowe's and Home Depot, and Lowe's had a fairly strong, we wanted a dark color wood for upstairs. My daughter and I had kind of talked about that, and she thought that'd be really cool. And if you go to the Lowe's people and talk to them, they have like literally none of the good wood in stock, especially if you need like 300 square feet, 400 square feet of wood. They have a service center. And of course, the service center had none in stock. And so I needed to search and find someone else that I could get wood quickly, because I had movers lined up to come like in 5 days, and I needed the floor installed. I needed to buy the floor. I mean, it was a short window before I was going to try to make everything happen. And I luckily came across, well, this guy that I was going to have install the floors named Marcel recommended a company called Allwood. They're here in Portland. And so this wood is like 3 times better than anything at Lowe's or at Home Depot. It has incredible wood. It's real wood. It's actually white oak that's been stained dark. Anyone else missing sound? No, everybody else has sound. I would have heard more about sound. If you're missing sound, check your volume. Oh, my bad. Okay, good. Okay, good. Josh is good. Okay, so this is the room with the all wood delivered. And then I worked with Marcel, and boom, he installed the floor. It's a beautiful wood. It's called Noir. If you're looking on the allwoodgrp.com website, it's a new wood they have called Noir, N-O-I-R, like film noir, but it's actually got a bit of a brown to it, as you can see. I actually got worried after I ordered it that it was going to be too just dark, but it's not. It's just the perfect amount of when it's like low light, it's nice and dark and so forth. There. So now it's like, well, how do I set things? So I first tried with the sound I just set it really quickly here, and it's way too short between the left and the right. The width of if you look at this floor plan, if I set up right here, A, I have a window behind me, but B, this is a short distance, and the bass was really whack. It didn't sound good. And so I've talked with a couple of people, and they're saying, use the length of your room, because that works better, especially with low end. And so instead of working at this angle, I went to this angle. And here's where it's laid out as we speak right now. I have this really cool Egyptian rug. I went to a really nice rug store, and they had this whole pile of 50% off rugs. And this was on the top, just sitting there waiting for me. I was like, I love it. And it works great with the dark floor. And I was able to put this floor in the whole second floor. My bedroom I'm so lucky. So actually there's a funny photo right here. This is my bedroom. These are my kids sitting there waiting to be installed. This in the top corner is a handmade prototype that we used to make the Korg Oasis. And I will cherish that forever. I was supposed to destroy it and send Japan video of me destroying it, but instead I'm going to keep it because it's so special. I spent like 3 years working on this machine, the amount of hours. And as you can see, it's a piece of paper with the name of the parameters, and the button switches and everything is on paper on top of it. We called it the Perestroika. It was our silver prototype. Minimoog, the Triton I worked on, the Korg Trinity I worked for years on, the M3 I've worked on, the Kronos 1, Kronos 2. This is a Kronos 2. These are my kids. I have spent years of my life bringing these things to life. And so I still work with Korg, and I can't even tell you, there's really exciting things. It's not over, my friends. So that relationship with Korg is very special to me, and I will continue to foster that relationship. But at the same time, I get to do this, and so I am blessed beyond measure. And so as you can see, this is a rack that I've had actually for a very, very long time, and I was actually going to try to sell it. And no one would buy it here in Portland. Portland's not a huge city, and this is like a $300-400 rack. And I couldn't sell it for $200. I'm like, I'm going to keep this thing. What was the original Oasis keyboard? Where did I get the chair? This is a Henry Miller You can find them online for $500. If you can afford it, I would recommend getting the next step up. This is one that doesn't have adjustments for the forward to back, and I get a little back pain because of the angle of sitting, and I can't change it. If you spend a little bit more, you get the more expensive Aeron chair, AERON, I believe. There's a company that was at the NAMM show I'm going to look into that had a studio chair for studio musicians that dealt with all the issues that these chairs are notorious for giving people that sit for a long period of time. Hi, Michael. Good to see you. So that's the layout. That's the room. Here we are. My daughter and I were at eating dinner last night, and then we walked over to Bed Bath & Beyond, which we hadn't been into in a long time, and it's like, oh my gosh. And they had, look at this, they have a Himalayan salt lamp. So I have a Himalayan salt lamp up here in the corner, which is supposed to be, I had tinnitus at one point from playing drums at a church. And, you know, monitor speaker, and I'm whacking on the drums, and it was really loud, and I had no ear protection because I wanted to hear the time really good. And that was the stupidest thing I ever did. I had ringing for probably 3 years. And about that time, I started going to the waterfalls here in the Columbia River Gorge, which just was recently in a really big fire. It's still on fire. There's smoke outside like you wouldn't believe. If you go outside for more than 15 minutes, you have to wear a mask. It's very, very sad. My heart is with the gorge. But there's healing from the negative ions produced from waterfalls in the ocean. If you can go by water, if you have ear issues, go spend time at waterfalls. I would go 2 times a week. And I would spend time at the waterfalls, and it produces negative ions, and those, I don't know how, but that, the white noise, which is a part of therapy that people are experimenting with tinnitus, that helped. And so I got a salt lamp because they also produce negative ions. So I have, it's like an air purifier for the room, but it's a piece of rock. I licked it. It's salt. It really is. Oh, what was that? The awkward moment when someone tapes a photo of Gollum. I collect memes sometimes. And can you imagine looking in your rearview mirror and there's Gollum? Okay, so that's part 1 of today, was to talk about the studio. Go to Bed Bath & Beyond. They have them for $25 for salt lamps if you want one. They have salt rocks for massages that heat up. I mean, they have different types of lamps. It's got a dimmer switch on it. It's like, wow, pretty cool. If you have questions, ask away. Check Float Conference channel on YouTube. It will help a lot. Okay, thank you, Enigma. That's something to remember. Float Conference. And remember to, I speak these out loud now because I'm realizing this chat doesn't show up in the playback of this video on YouTube in the future. It just doesn't. So I'm going to say more verbose the things that people say that are important that I want to share. So the other part of today that's going to be really fun is is it really emitting something that is therapeutic? Yes, it is. Believe it or not, Big E, they are. And they look great. I mean, this big chunk of rock sitting there is really cool. So the other part of today is this. Listen real close. Let me turn this off. I have created like a mega song. I'm going to burp. These are things I edit out of my videos when they're big YouTube videos. Let me get this to size. As you can see, I have a lot of tracks playing. This is what it sounds like. Okay. And then here I have 15 reverbs. And we're going to play with 15 different reverbs. And they go the whole range from like the true Cadillac, the most amazing. I mean, truly the Cadillac, the star of reverb to me and many professionals is the $549 Altiverb. And I'll show you when we get to doing detailed stuff why. It's just crazy. The nice Cadillac inexpensive alternate version is the one that comes with Logic Pro, which doesn't sound as good. But it is convolution reverb, and it has some really cool things I'll show you about that you need to know about if you're into sound design and stuff. Ocean Way, this is from Universal Audio. I should turn this to purple and see if this works where I can now click. Yes, it works. Okay, I like that. So Ocean Way, and I'll give you links at the end of this. I've got links to all the different websites. In fact, let's do that real quick. This is the websites that we're gonna cover in this video. I'm gonna do it now, and then that way I don't have to go back to this and I don't forget it, because I'm good at forgetting things. So PSP has this really cool spring reverb. You will not believe how this sounds, called Nexcellence. They also have a free plugin I'm going to call Pianoverb. That's really cool and unique. Zenoverb is part of Auditory. It's a new reverb. It has 2 pitch shifters in it. It can do some really cool things. They have grain space, a whole lot of other things. Audio Ease, the Cadillacs, as far as reverb go. Here's their website right here. I'm not going to read the websites, but you can see it right here. Pause the video playback in the future. Universal Audio has a whole bunch of reverbs. I'm going to show you Ocean Way and their Lexicon 224 simulation. One of my probably personal favorite reverbs, just for the lush reverb thing, is the Native Instruments RC48. I use this to make all the reverb tails for all my Mega Magic Dreams, pads, guitars 1 and 2, Creature-esque. It's just wonderful. It's really cool. Highly recommended. Eventide. They have a couple reverbs I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you both Blackhole and their UltraReverb, which is a just beautiful, pristine, calculated synthetic-based reverb, but it's like really killer, the algorithms that they do. 2C Audio has Ether, which is both a wonderful sounding reverb, but it also is a mind-blowing sound design tool. Valhalla, probably the best discounted for the money reverbs they have. You can buy them as a bundle. I'd recommend the bundle because their room reverbs are great. Shimmerverb is just, I used it for the Mega Magic 2 that you find on the guitars. Rob Papen just released a new reverb called RP-Verb 2 that I'm going to show you that is extremely cool. It has distortion, chorusing. It has a reverse sample and hold, kind of like sample like a measure or 2 or whatever you want, and then reverse it and play it back, which if you're doing sound design and drum loops and you need cool, unique things, it's really cool. And my website. Don't forget to come to my website and support the teacher, please. I even have a $1 demo bank for Del Norte to get you guys to see a taste. I'm serious about trying to get everybody to have my libraries. There's also something called the 1020 collection, which is a sampler for a lot of the libraries. So if you want, I need to put more details into this. I haven't, but it's 10 patches from 20 Omnisphere libraries. Lots of libraries for lots of plugins. So please show your support. I appreciate it very much. That's all I need to say there. So that's the reverbs we're going to look at. And I have this set up so that I can play and I can solo anything from a synth waveform to a pads. I have Del Norte for Contact 5, which comes out in a couple weeks. Airwaves made 70 patches for it. I've got other people working on it. It's awesome. I have a bass from Omniverse 2. So we can listen to reverb through basses. Mega Wave for Serum. Oh, I hear delay. Let me make sure I don't have... Turn off the delay, turn off the reverb. We want everything dry. There's no effects on any of the sounds. There's a little room reverb on these strings. These are the short Symphobia strings, but I've turned off the DSP reverb. So this is just the room ambience of the strings. I can't get it any quieter than that. Okay? Piano. Space is off. I have drums. Super Macho Drums is doing like just a cool laid back groove. A drum kit. I have a drum kit from Steven Slate. Okay. Let's go to the snare, maybe to the mixer. I have all the room ambience turned off for the most part. Turn it all the way off, so it's just dry. I just want it totally dry, okay? Okay, and then finally, I have it's tuned up to match the song. It's one of the phrases inside of Omnisphere. I don't know if I've talked about this, I've made videos, but there is literally gigabytes of phrases inside of Omnisphere that are really useful. And I also moved it over here, so if you want to hear the original pitch of it. Oh wait, let me select it. So we could take any of these samples. There's Altiverb. Here's Valhalla Shimmer. Again, this does all sorts of cool processing. Here's Nexcellence. Now this might not sound so great on the voice. You won't. It's a spring reverb. It's nice. But if you put this on drums, let's see. Let's move this to be earlier. You get this really cool spring reverb vibey thing going on. So we're gonna go down the list and just play with these, okay? And if you have questions, shoot them out. Let's see what the comments are. H reverb from Waves. I've heard of H reverb. I didn't load it up. I don't think I have it. Let me see something real quick. If I go here, I have a number of Waves effects. I have the R verb, but I don't have the H verb. So yeah, I don't have that one. And R verb was okay, but it's kind of your standard reverb algorithm. So I didn't go with showing it off. Okay, so let's start with the top. Let's do it on acoustic drums to start with. Now the reason Altiverb is considered the Cadillac is because if you hit here where it says Schubert Hall, you have all of these categories of incredibly meticulously recorded, and they have stuff over here that gets into all sorts of crazy different things. But these are different places. Like if you wanted to hear the Opera House in Sydney, there it is. Or the Opera House. And the room vibes is just great. If you go to public spaces, here's a dungeon. Here's a brothel. Here's the gasometer. They have studios. Like any post-production TV, all that stuff, this is used so much it's not even funny and all that kind of work. But there's just something to the rooms. You really feel that you are in these places, which I don't get from a lot of other things. Forest. I mean, just the fidelity is insane. Subway tunnel. Now, on top of this, I should point out, it's not just... Once you've chosen this, you have all sorts of parameters for the time. You can shape it really nicely. There's dampening controls. And it picks out all sorts of really awesome details in the sounds. EQ. So you can really dial it in. Okay, so if you want truly beautiful reverbs for voices, for all that kind of stuff, it's great. Okay, and they do get into some other things over here. The djembes. Iron baths. Let's hear that on drums. There's your spring drum, space phone. The 30 feet tank. So there's just a tactile feel you hear in these sounds that seriously, none of the other reverbs will give you. Not that I have found. They're nice, they complement, they're working with the sound, but it's kind of like Altiverb has things it adds to the sound in a way because of the way the rooms interact. It's unlike anything I have. If you take the strings and you go over here to one of the concert halls, and I think I still have my EQ bright, so let's... get it back to being natural. %. You really feel different things come out from it. So there you go. SpaceVerb, I guess it's Space Designer is the true name of it. This is built into into Logic Pro, and it's truly great. You can drop your own convolution reverbs right here, and all of a sudden your reverb is going through those sounds. If you see the presets, you have all sorts of spaces. They all have warped, which is where you get to the really fun. Oh, my strings are off a little bit. Bye bye movie. Just say eighth notes. They also have these other things that are really cool. I want to show you the drums. Down here towards warped effects, you have ghost rhythms. So I'm at 126, so I could go down to 120. There's all sorts of stuff to play with. There's high pass filtering, there's enveloping over time. All sorts of things built into this So if you need a place for loop, fodder, sound design stuff. Now on piano it sounds a little weird. But if you're doing a Radiohead time, this is where Eno and those guys will go. They'll say like, well, why don't we try putting something weird like this on something acoustic? This is where you get new, okay? Just so you know, this is a free tool inside of Logic. So if you use Logic, don't ignore it. Make sure you click here and go through and know what you have to work with. There's drones. You know, you want to get that weird out there kind of thing. There you go. Yeah, you can't tune them to match. Sometimes that's where searching through this stuff before you start writing the song, or transposing the song after you find the reverb that like makes the sound, it's easy to transpose keyboard parts. So there's ways around it. I have transposed songs to match something I found inside of one of these presets before. So okay, so Space Designer, it does the convolution reverb and it does other stuff. Okay. Next, let's get to the rooms. Now, Ocean Way, oh, some of these get to be really CPU heavy. So let's go to drums. You'll really hear this better. Ocean Way is like the most accurate. I love the, like if you're trying to go for this, a nice room, especially for drums, percussion, and stuff. Ooh, we got 78 new record people watching. Cool, welcome. There's all sorts of presets for different ways to use this. Basically, the concept is you have the layout of the studio. You have 3 microphones. You can pan them. But the room ambience that you can come up with, if you set this to remike, you can play with the mix. Wait, let's put this. Oh, just the reverb there. Here's without it. So if you've ever been in a studio and recorded with overhead mics, that's pretty much what you get. It's what it sounds like. So the ambience and the stereo placement and the mix volume, there's EQ you could play with. Details for the interior that you can go through and work with. Universal Audio has a lot of reverbs, and I'm not covering all of them. But I wanted to cover Ocean Way, and also we'll put this in this place because right after this we can show, let's see, right there. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on some of these. That's what Ocean Way does, and it does it really well. They didn't try to make it go into doing pitch-shifted rhythm drum ghost things. It's just like, you want rooms? Boom. So there you go. The caveat for the Universal Audio stuff I'm showing is you have to have something with Universal Audio DSP in it. It's not, the effects will not run standalone as an audio plugin type of thing with whatever audio card you have. You have to own Universal Audio hardware. Either a chip that just is a chip, or an audio card, which is the audio card with chips built into it. But it has to have the sharp. Hey, Ivar's here. Welcome. Okay, so that is Ocean Way Room. Now they also have the Lexicon. This is a simulation of the 224, a wonderful reverb unit. You have reverb time. You have a crossover control. The decay of the high end is controlled here. There's different reverbs type presets here. And it's that old, wonderful Lexicon-y vibe. Like, for example, here's a room from here. Compare that to Ocean Way. Totally different way of getting this sound. This is so much more smooth and real. This has more of that synthetic kind of thing. If you go to decay and increase it, let's see. Oh wait, the decay is done down here. Okay, so that's the Lexicon vibe. And again, the Universal Audio didn't take this and say, let's make all sorts of weird stuff. They made some wide, like you hear the earlier reflections. That's great on a voice. So if we were to go to here. Here's without it. So you can hear that width that it's added to it. It's very useful. It's nice. So I like the 224. I haven't used it a lot, but I love Peter Gabriel, and a lot of those albums back in the day were done using put this on the drum machine. It's definitely got its personality to it. And you can shape it pretty easily. So it's a nice one to have in the bag if you have Universal Audio hardware. I do enjoy it. RC48 I've talked about. I think this might be my favorite reverb. This has so much stuff in it. So if you put this on like a pad, like here's, it's great with anything. Here's the EDM type of stuff. Oh wait, that's my limiter. Do cool stuff with the pre-delay. The high cut, the low cut. Make sure you use the random hall. I like that. It's my favorite. If it's set to wet, then you can't control the mix. If you set it to the mix, then you can control and have... It's just great. And so if you have Native Instruments Complete, it comes with this. So be sure you play with the RC48 and the 24. They're both very good. I have now used... Yes, the phrases is a great place to play with in Omnisphere if you haven't. Okay? So the RC48, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of... Here's the Mega Magic Dreams preset that I use. So with this, I can play, let's see if we play here so it goes quiet. You hear all that floating stuff, and then you record that. That's how I made Mega Magic Dreams. Okay. So now we're getting more into the DSP reverbs, more away from the convolution type of things that we saw earlier. This is the first, well, the 224 from Lexicon this was also a DSP reverb. It's not convolution based, as far as I know. Up next is UltraReverb, which is just a really nice... And they have quite a few presets because there's so many parameters to play with. There's a compressor. Did they make presets? I believe they did. You can choose them either as bus or insert, and it's important to know the difference. Bus is going to be 100%. Inserts are where you're supposed to put it on an insert effect, so these will be balanced like 50-50, or wherever they need to be a nice mix. But bus is how I'm using this right now, so that way I can have all of these sounds all going to the same bus, and this bus, by turning one reverb off and turning another on, all these sounds are able to go through this. So if I was to unsolo, the way it's set up, I could have everybody play through this reverb, if it will play. Why won't you play? Here's your wet dry mix. Very nice. If you go to load, oh, I see. So you can do it that way, or you can go load if you're going to load it from somewhere. But if I'm going to use it as a bus, all these people have made presets. And so there's all sorts of, if we go to the drums, okay. This has a wider range, I think, of presets than a lot of the other earlier reverbs. Kind of the start of the blanket reverb. But because of the parameters, there's a modulation with rate and depth that lets you change the reverb tail over time. So it's fun to play with these. Sort of chorusy, so if you were to put that on like hear the tuning. Definitely doing weird stuff here. So UltraReverb's great. I haven't played with it tons, but it has a really clean sound to it. So if you need that really clean, because it has a left and right delay with separate feedback controls that can be tempo synced, as well as reverb, it gets to some really fun stuff. With a compressor, you can shape things and do some things. Okay? So it's not just reverb. That's why they call it UltraReverb. Then on drums. Lo-fi it. Okay, so there's a lot to play with in this reverb effect. Now, Blackhole is another one of my personal favorites. You have this really cool little electric bender here, right? And what this allows you to do, if I can remember how to do it, I haven't played with this in a while. I should have played with it before I came over here. The cool thing with this is you can segue between two different presets. And as you see blue on things, see how there's all these different things that have this. As I move this, so I can do real time. A lot of times when you're dealing with reverb, especially before Blackhole, it's changed a little bit now. But you would get all sorts of steppy things if you tried to automate a reverb effect. And kind of the cool thing is Blackhole does these really cool other things as well as reverb, but and you can freeze it. Okay. There's also other sorts of things. The gravity parameter. No pre-delay. So this is a sound design kind of a tool. I like the character of it. I've used it for the Mega Magic guitars. I believe it was one because I used 3 reverbs for those. So fun stuff. But the really cool thing is, and I can't remember how to set up the, oh, there it is. You just click on the dot. You can have all these parameters that are changing. If you click on the dots, and I think you can reverse the parameters in other directions, but this way, you can do all sorts of automated things like that. So it was very cool. It's been out for 3, 4, 5 years. It's been out for a while. It's still a very cool reverb in what it does. Okay, Valhalla. Oh my. Valhalla is simple interfaces, but the proof is in the pudding. The reverb. Let's do this. Let's have this mix like this. Let's compare this to the ocean side, ocean waves. Different room. It's nice. You have all sorts of different settings. Okay. They all bring their own personality to the table. This is just really great different types of reverbs. Okay, but it's reverb. There's presets. Okay, and these are great on strings. Go for dark. Oh, the bass I don't have going through reverb. That was just to be a solid thing. Gives you more early reflections. In fact, you have early reflection and late for the reverb parameters to play with, including modulation rate and depth, crossover. Some nice parameters. Nice ways to shape the reverb if you want. Up next, now we start getting into the more creative sound design. These last ones are going to be really fun, and I spend more time with these types of reverbs probably than the rooms and stuff, although you need those too. But this is sound design, where you have the ability to do all sorts of crazy things to the sounds. Put this on piano. If you need that like detuned reverb kind of thing with just a little bit of shifting, bring up the feedback. All of a sudden you start getting more octaves. Okay, then there's all sorts of different reverb types, the big stereo. Just beautiful stuff for so I love Shimmer. Shimmer is one of those that people talk about with like always love. Color mode bright. Let's have pitch added. Let's make the size smaller. Hear the shifting in there? So really great stuff. Take it to octaves. Here's modulation added. So sound design is kind of Shimmer's thing. It can do dual, it can do dual reverse. Okay, I could play with that all day. Nexcellence. This almost should be seen a little sooner. This is the spring reverb, and it's actually, I believe, 2 different springs that you can have played together. You can split it to be mono, stereo, or spread. There's all sorts of different parameters for it. There's presets. Let's say slapback. Of course, you got to play drums if you're talking spring reverb. So if you're gonna do the reggae thing, it's also great on keyboards. You don't hear that springy thing, but it's a component in the sound that gives it this motion. Put it to a synth, which will have brighter stuff. Kind of says vintage in a cool way. Without it. Okay. I don't need to spend a lot of time with this. This is just what it does. You know? It's a cool vibe. I haven't heard another spring that's quite as unique as this. You have a lot of control over the highs. It's got that in it all the time. Which, if you're working in a mix, that kind of stuff is what kind of sticks out and makes something sound unique. So it's nice to have that. So Nexilus, thumbs up. Ether. What can we say about Ether? This is one that a lot of people think is their favorite. I know a lot of people that say this is the one I go to first. And the reason is pretty simple, because it can do a boat of creative as well as precision halls, as they call it. If we put this on the drums. Oh wait, turn it on. Right? It also has all these crazy creative, which if you put this on piano, you get this like interesting bouncing ball kind of additional motion. Some of these like ring forever. So for film scenes, put on voice. Okay. There's a lot going on between the way that it works with these reverb spaces, as they call it. So there's all sorts of, I'm not going to get into all the details, but as you can see, it's very unique. On strings. Now if you put this to as you see, this is a CPU hog. It's hitting pretty hard. Some of the things it's doing. It's just got a nice presence to it. It's got there's personality to the reverb. You can hear it. Hopefully you hear it. Okay. Okay. So Nexilence came out recently. Another one that recently came out is RP-Verb 2. And this has a couple unique features that are very appealing, because it's like another reverb. Oh my God. What unique thing can you do that I haven't heard before, or else I'm not interested? And the unique thing that this can do is it has this built-in reverse. It has distortion. The reflections are very cool. It has an ensemble. The distortion has different types of distortion. But let's focus on this for a minute. This is really cool. Let's call up the drum groove. Let's no effects to start with, right? And let's call up. Let's go to the drum stuff, so you really hear. Quickly browse. You notice they also have inserts for each thing. So we're going to the non-insert. We're on a bus. So we'll go to drums. Actually do the loops. Where's the drum loops? Here we go. Check these out. So this is one of the crazy, this is the cool stuff it can do. The reverse. Here we go. Come on. So it's playing forward and backwards. You can determine the whole time whether you want it to be 2 measures. You can determine the mix, whether it's reverb or no reverb and just backwards. And say, let's have it do a half measure. So that's cool. That's new. When you take on top of this the fact that you can like shape it. Put this distortion on it. You can EQ it if you want. You have all sorts of presets that take this idea. So playing forward and reverse reverb. That's new. So this, as well as the fact it can do really nice if you go to like just vocals. It can do the nice. Okay. So it can do this kind of stuff, as well as if you look at the categories, there's so you're hearing just a little bit of reverse every now and then. When you see the little blue arrow go to the left, that's when the reverse is happening. And you could change this to be different hold times. Let's have the reverb be 2 measures long. So you can do really great things and unique. This kind of like copying, pasting, reversing, putting it through reverb, turning it softer in your mix. You can do that, but now you can do it as the plugin in your reverb unit. So that's pretty cool. There's all sorts of different reverb types. So this kind of unique, this is different. This is something you haven't really heard before. So this just came out, so it's a very different flavor than the other reverbs. Rob's very smart. Back in the day, he was one of the guys that made some of the coolest patches for the Virus synths, which made them become like what you hear on everybody's records. So Rob's a talented guy, and he saw this place where like, hey, what if it could do this with reverb? Because people like to do this kind of stuff. You know, if you go to the production like videos on YouTube and like advanced things you can do with reverb, you know, and they'll show doing things like this, but it requires a lot of steps of editing, of bouncing something down, putting it through reverb, reversing it, and finding the place to automate it in and out. Now it's done automatically, and you have parameters for how long the reverb time is, how long does it hold before it starts it, well, how much of it's reverb, how much of it's the reverse. I mean, there's really cool parameters. There's an enveloper, which is really nice to set up so it can make gated effects. It's got LFO settings for LFOs to be changing parameters up here in the synth. So it's synthesizer and reverb kind of mixed in a way we haven't seen yet. So here's your abandoned factory. See how it's really short? So it's like forward and reversing all the time. So you could color this. Very cool. Okay. So just adding like air, almost a vocal doubler. So let's play that in the vocal. So it's like just adding some stuff to it, but it's not delay, but it's not reverb, you know? So that's pretty cool. Okay, distorted room. All right, up next is a friend of mine, Luca. He's got some really cool stuff here to play with. Zenoverb just came out. Before this was Grain Space. Grain Space is more crude. But these are true sound design reverb playing places. Jason Schoper, our own Jason Schoper, made some patches for this. So this is grain space. Oops, I broke it. Dark reverb. So this is more than reverb. This is reverb plus. Pretty hardcore. Okay. You need the glitchy stuff. Now the new one, Shimmer, Zenoverb, goes a little bit farther and it's more smooth. These fast octaves. It's like a doubling and a reverb at once. Isn't that cool? Put this on the voices. Cool. Yeah, RP-Verb didn't kill my computer. Someone's talking about the CPU usage, and I think Ether from 2C Audio was one of the bigger CPU requirement hitters. So yeah, this is a nice reverb for all sorts of unique sound design kind of places you want to play with. Infinite chorus. So all sorts of places to play. You want just plates? Really nice airy plates. So again, these are the more reasonably priced creative plugins to play with. So Auditory has a number of those. Grain space I showed you earlier, that also has the ability to do just crazy different things. Let's put that with the piano. Put the pad in there. So now you just have those. Here's without it. Really cool stuff. Okay. And finally, a free reverb. Yes! PSP Pianoverb is free. Let me show you what it can do. And you might go, Skippy, that's horrible. It has like piano strings embedded into the reverb. Let me zoom in so you can see it more. Right? And you might go, that's horrible. What are you talking about? But let me show you, there's some tricks here. So well, not tricks, but these parameters, the transpose can do some cool things. If you transpose in the other direction, it's magical. So we go this way. And now those weird pitches are down in pitch so low that you can't really recognize. And detune will detune the relationship. And all of a sudden you have a really cool, unique reverb. Without it, so if you go up here, it's weird, right? It's like somebody stuck your auto harp into your reverb. But go the other way, down in pitch. And it's a really cool sound. Okay? So I have no idea if this helped, but it was fun. And I had a good time playing. I love playing with reverb, so ask me to play with reverb anytime. But I had someone suggesting there's so many reverbs, and this last month, like 3 new ones came out. The new ones that came out were Nexcellence, Zenoverb, and RP-Verb 2. So they've added and joined the mix. And to be honest, they were all smart in that they add something new in a unique way. The spring reverb from Nexcellence, I can't think of another reverb I would suggest going to. Well, there is a couple places for spring. Actually, the spring inside of Omnisphere is really good. Fab Filters Pro R looks really great. That's new. I don't have it. So all these I've bought. So although the auditory ones, Zenoverb and Grainspace, I was granted free licenses by a friend of the guy that is auditory, a single programmer, sound design person such as myself making effects, Luca. And so those were given to me, but everything else I have purchased. So I have not purchased that yet. John, will you do any mixing tips, style videos? Absolutely. I will be doing those types of things. Can you compare Nexcellence with the Zenoverb spring algorithm? Sure. That's Luca, by the way. Say hi to Luca. He's auditory. So we're lucky to have auditory here. So let's go to the Zenoverb. Let's see, go drums. Zenoverb, turn that on. And let's go to the spring. It's got that chippy thing going on. It's cool but different. I think if I was trying to do like really irritating reggae with really cool drums, I would maybe use this. I don't know. They're both different in person. I mean, so you have a chirp, and check this out. This was kind of cool. So when you go to these different sets of effects in this, I noticed this. If you go to Shimmer, see how this says chirp and diffuse and low frequency cut. When you go to Jupiter, the knob names change. So it's kind of a secret thing. Depending on what algorithm you're going to use here, these change to be different parameters, which is kind of cool. Here's a vocal. That's cool. That's different. I'm always looking for different. It's like, you know, we've done this, we've done that. What can we do that's different? And so it's fun to see Luca and other people that are trying to do things that are different. And so congratulations on that part, at least getting that part and accomplishing it. So good job. So that's Reverb. But yes, I have so many plans, guys. I've got lots of production videos I want to do in the future to show how to do production, to think about mixing. I'm not a pro per se, but we've got 20-year-olds that don't know a clue doing those types of videos. So I might as well do them as well. And I've worked on lots of records and been around for a long time. So I have some things to share too. So I will be doing that in the future. Any questions before we wrap this up? It's so cool. I'm going to be ordering a new computer, by the way. I'm waiting until Tuesday. I'm giving Apple until Tuesday. They're maybe going to show their new Mac Pro that they've been working on. Chances are it will be $12,000 and non-upgradable. But we'll wait and see. But I already have picked out what I want to get, and probably will get regardless of what they show. But I'm going to go from a 6-core to a 12-core Mac Pro. That will give me more processors so the video speeds and stuff can be supported. And I will upgrade that computer to probably 10.11. 10.12 I haven't heard great things about. I know, Luca, I'm worried about that. But I already have my used secondhand Mac Pro picked out. Because it's like under $2,000 for a 12-core Mac Pro. And because I use Mac software, I can't go to a PC. I have a PC downstairs in laptop form. And I have a really hard time getting under the skin of it. And here I can sit. I wrote this little ditty to play for you guys and work with. This was like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So I know how to use these tools. I don't want to spend time learning how to use other tools. Life is short. If anything I have learned, life is short. Use what you know and do as much with it as you can. Okay? That's the tip of the day. Big E has a trash can, and he says he wants to put his Mac Pro in the trash can. Yes. So disappointing. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll see what they do on Tuesday. They're supposed to have some event, so we'll see. I know they're going very strange in the wrong direction for what Apple's doing. They're thinking very consumer, non-upgradable discounts. And you have to be really careful because the public is fickle. And you can only get away with that stuff for so long before you stop selling computers altogether, because people go to what, and Microsoft is just chomping at the bit. They're doing some cool things. They're getting close to being something I could look into, but we're not there yet. Prince is still kicking it with his Lindrum and Oberheim synth. Yeah, use what you've got. Use what you got, what you're familiar with. So I've used Logic since it was on an Atari 520 ST in Seattle 28 years ago. And it was called Creator at the time. It's changed a lot, but a lot of the concepts and the ideas and the real-time quantizing and all that stuff was there. So, well, thank you for joining me. I am so glad to see so many of you. We will keep doing this. I have lots of upgrade plans, and I'll share them as I go. Hopefully, talking about my room helps some of you out. To just remember, I've got a sofa over in the corner, the carpet on the floor. Things to diffuse sound are important because that way you hear more of what's going on from your speakers. And that's kind of the goal, is to try to get the room, wherever you are, out of the equation. Make it a nice room, but you don't want it to be part of the equation. You want to hear what's coming from your speakers. So that's why I wasn't so concerned about anything more than how the room feels for me, because that was what was important. Oh, sound off. Yes, we need to do a sound off. So Big E asked this last night. Write down what artist, what album is just knocking you guys out. What songs, artists, what's going on? People, just to have ideas of new things that are going on. Write down what you're enjoying listening to right now. Okay? Put that into the sound off. And then after that, we'll do one more final sound off on location. But this is a music-based sound off. What are you listening to? What's really got you going? Besto, the Molise from Tokyo, Japan. Wow. Okay, the Molise. M-O-L-I-C-E. There's one to check out. Brian Eno and Robert Fripp. Yes. Latest from the Birthday Massacre. Knife Party is always a favorite. Artist, the Twilight Sad album. Nobody Wants to Be Here and Nobody Wants to Leave. Oh, Michael's doomed with a 2 meter by 2 meters square. Well, put some things in the corners. Get it to not bang in the corners with low frequencies. Gang of Four and Shriek Back. Ulrich Schnaus. Ulrich Schnaus. I don't know that. S-C-H-N-A-U-S-S. Anything Shakuhachi. Great answer. Great answer. I love that. We'll give a minute more for people to reply if they have other artists that they're listening. Oh, Mogwai. Yeah, Mogwai is great. He's got a new album out that's really good. Holden Holmes. Cool. First 6 Enigma albums. Yeah. Yes, a small room has less problems in acoustics in a big room. That is very true. Foray, Divin, Hold the Night. Oh, Goldfrapp. Yeah, Big E and I are going to go see Goldfrapp here in Portland very soon. They're coming. Their new album is great. The new Goldfrapp. I really enjoy that album, by the way. Synthwaves, Thorsten and Quishing and Ulrich Schnaus. There's someone else talking about Ulrich Schnaus. I need to check that out. All right, location. Call out. Where are you guys at? If anybody's in Florida, get out of Florida. Because it's storming like crazy and it's going to get worse. But where are you at? Portland, Oregon. Here, I'll do a shout out for Portland. Shout out from B-Town. Bothell. Bruce is in Bothell, Washington. Cool. Cape Town, Norway, North Carolina, Sweden, Arizona, Washington. Washington, D.C. I was born in Washington, D.C. Left when I was 6 months old. Haven't been back. Got to go sometime. Enigma. Are you really in Transylvania? Heidelberg, Germany. Chesterfield, Virginia. Cool. Tokyo, Turkey, Thailand, Ottawa, Canada. St. George. Oh, you're by Zion? Oh my God, dude. That's one of the places I want to go photograph so badly. 79 viewers. I think that's a new record. That's great. North Carolina, Lincolnshire. Well, thank you for joining. It's an honor to be here with you all. Hope this was helpful, and we will do it again next Saturday. All right? Be well. Send me your songs. I can't wait to show you guys what Del Norte has going on. We've got it tweaked so rad. It is so cool. Hey, someone else is also in Bothell. Cool. Thank you, Michael. Nice to see you all. Nice to hear from you all. I love our chats. I love hanging. We will be doing this again. So my hands together, head bowed. Thank you. See you guys later. Bye.